Hey everyone, Henry Fall here in Milo Lines, back out here at beautiful Superstition Mountain. We're on the other side of the range today, Milo. We got the clubhouse in the background.
Yep.
Today we're going to be showing you why closing off your shoulders or feeling that your shoulders are out to the right almost to impact could be really causing you some issues, both with low point and path and also speed. It can be a depriver of speed, right?
For sure.
Milo, are the shoulders really closed at impact for the best players in the world? I guess that's the first question we have to ask.
No. There are a lot of optical illusions. So if we look at a golf swing from the down the line perspective, because the amount of side bend that's created is basically matching the amount of rotation, the shoulders can look fairly square. But if you were looking at them from the exactly perpendicular to your chest, you would see that the shoulders are not actually square. They're open some amount.
And when you're talking about side bend, we're talking about sort of in the spine here, right?
Yes.
So if I'm bending from my rib cage,
yes,
right?
That's side bend.
So if you look at my two shoulder sockets here and I kind of add a little side bend, right? Now I'm not really rotating yet. You can see that right shoulder is going to be a little bit lower. Now from down the line, if I do that, it also kind of makes it look like that left shoulder is riding sort of up the wall,
Yep.
right? So that's kind of the look we have there.
And the other thing that we have is the shoulders are independent of the chest. So in a golf swing, this lead shoulder protracts, so the shoulder blade works away from the rib cage. It protracts some. So if I don't do nothing right here, and I just protract this shoulder, now my shoulders are closed. But I didn't really do anything other than just let my shoulder blade move away from my spine.
Right, and that's more or less happening in the golf swing, right? Because of how we grip it, and also as you're transitioning, that left arm wants to move kind of more into you, assuming you're kind of powering it correctly.
Yes.
Obviously, if you're pulling the arms back and in, that could be a whole different issue.
Exactly. So yes, this shoulder will get protracted here at the finish of the backswing, and then even a little bit more in the stretch phase in the transition. And so relative to my chest, my shoulders are closed.
Yeah, it's giving an appearance that they're going to be almost a little bit out to the right. But even at impact, we're going to tend to see a lot of the best players actually still have their shoulders relatively neutral or maybe even a little bit open.
Oftentimes very open, so it just depends. You know, I have some stills of Rory McIlroy at impact with his shoulder line almost matching his chest line, and it's really left. And he's hitting a draw. So interesting, you can still hit a draw that starts out to the right because he mostly hits kind of a little push draw, with the chest and the shoulders being like this open at impact.
And if you look at the fastest players or even like say world long drive hitters, that chest is getting open.
Yes.
And just across other sports, if you think of a baseball hitter, that chest is getting open. You think of a hockey player hitting a slap shot, that chest is getting open, right? Tennis, same thing, the chest is getting open. So for so long, you may have been taught or told, keep your shoulders closed, keep your shoulders closed. That keeps you in the shot, right? The idea might be okay, however, we're not really seeing that with the best players and the fastest players.
Yeah, to some level, I can see how that can be helpful because it creates the need to go into the rightward bend. But oftentimes I see players begin to power the club incorrectly. They start actually throwing it down like this and not using the body to unwind.
Right. Let me get in here for a second, Milo, because this is what we see every day on the lesson tee. I would say there's kind of a mixed bag. You get your people that are kind of over the top slicers, right? But a lot of the people we actually coach have kind of figured that out, put that in their history, and now they're so stuck from the inside. Their shoulders are so closed, they don't get their chest open. And they're still steep, but they're just way from the inside, right?
Yeah.
And now they're getting these big blocks or big hooks, pull hooks. Okay?
For sure.
So we see like their whole left side just shut off, and now, yeah, their shoulders are closed.
That was their slice fix.
Right. And you can see it, their neck tilts, they have some slide going on, everything is sort of out to right field, as we would say. So let me just give it a little example here. It kind of looks like that coming into the ball, doesn't it?
Very much so.
And now it's like the club wants to pass them and they hit these pull hooks.
Yep.
So they're not getting out of the way.
And almost always it's caused by the intention of not allowing themselves to open up because they're afraid that opening up.
Oh, and then you get low point issues.
Oh, yes. But it's the fear of opening up causes them to hit a slice. So they went to that rather than fixing the actual root cause.
See that all the time, just that whole neck tilt too. Ugh. It's like their eye line gets out to the right as well.
Yuck.
So everything is forced from the inside. Man, I can't even do that. So it just totally blocks you. And again, for us, it's a big time speed depriver.
Oh yeah, hit it as hard as you can like that. I bet you can barely hit it 150.
Oh, you want me to hit as hard as I can?
I want to see you hit one hard like that.
Woo. Oh.
Now you hit it pretty far, actually.
Yeah, big old hook.
50 yards of hook.
The problem is I don't feel like I could control trajectory.
You can't.
Definitely can't control low point. And honestly, I could see how I could get injured because I'm kind of like bracing myself. Everything's kind of stalling, and the club is racing by me. So for those of you that also might have the old chicken wing, that's another look we get. Everything out to the right, maybe your alignment gets right, your body and your turn stalls. This club goes racing by you. Now you got that old chicken wing with that arm crossing you.
Yep.
So everything is like passing you. So while that can maybe square the face up, while that can maybe get you swinging from the inside, to us, there's a limit to how good you can truly be because, again, you're compromising low point, you're compromising speed, and potentially bringing in more injury.
Exactly. You might be better than you were when you were the slicer, but you're never going to be good.
That's probably a good way to say it. So let's talk about how we'd rather see our torso upper body move, because I think what you'll see on this channel, which you've probably seen before, is that we really talk about the chest. And if we're moving our chest efficiently, if we're getting it around the corner, like we see again across all their sports, dynamic athletes, that's how they're moving, you're going to see that the shoulders will respond a little bit and they may get a little bit more open at impact. Again, there is that illusion that they're a little more square closed off because of arm structure and how the shoulders are working. But at the end of the day, by getting our chest around the corner, that's going to continue to carry us up and around, continuing our swing up into our finish, right? And things aren't going to be racing by us, right?
So our motto is swing like an athlete. And I can't think of an athletic motion that we do where we try to hold something back on purpose. Trying not to do something.
You're talking about the body, yeah.
Trying to hold your body back, or really in any athletic motion, you're not trying to hold things back, you're trying to be free.
Right.
And so that's our goal, is to give you freedom to, unwind.
That's a great picture. It's almost like if I was turning a double play at first base and the ball comes to me and I go like this, that doesn't really jive with what we're talking about here, does it?
No.
And plus, it's, again, limiting how much power I have here by going, But if I can turn that double play and open up a little bit, now I can really sling that ball and get it out to first base. Same with skipping a rock, right?
Yeah, it's
Which
same.
so many people talking about being similar to the golf swing.
There's a lot of similarities between throwing and hitting in other sports. Here we've got to be able to manage low point a little bit better than we do in baseball.
Yeah.
And that has to do with what we do with our center and how our hands and wrists work a little bit. So now that we understand that we don't want to be closed, what do we want to do and how do we match it up?
Well, I'm going to show you guys a little exercise that I think will help. And you've probably seen this before. What we can do is, I'll show you face on first. And you know what? I'm going to have this alignment stick kind of as a ball position reference. And what I'm going to do is just have this club out here. I'm going to put it straight up and down and put my left arm on it. Okay? Now what you've probably seen before is that you can kind of have your arm in here like you would in a golf swing, get in golf posture, and we can kind of wind up and unwind into this arm. Okay? Now the theory for a long time was to, when you do this, really keep your shoulders closed and your kind of chest turned off. So from down the line, that would look like this, right? So while the intent maybe was good, you're staying in the shot, shoulders a little closed, it can help you come from the inside, and this left arm doesn't pull back. The problem is, again, now everything's out to the right field. And for me, when I feel that too, my left hip kind of turns off, and now my hips kind of bump and move in front of me. Okay, so again, everything out to right field. So I'm gonna do this a little differently. I'm gonna allow my chest to almost feel like it gets parallel with this left arm and get that left hip going back.
Beautiful, I love this.
So I got plenty of space, and it's a nice stretch to, again, stay in the shot, get me in the correct bends, but match up that side bend with rotation that we so often miss out on. That just feels more athletic, just like I would be skipping a rock, boom, just like I would be turning a double play.
And you're almost turning into that
exactly
left arm a little bit, and the left arm's not dropping down.
Right, so I got that whole stretch, like you talk about, that lead arm staying a little more up versus dropping down. So that's a really nice feeling. So I'm gonna take that. Now I can make a couple rehearsals with that feeling. Boom, boom. And maybe just chip one from there. And now I got a nice little impact feel. Again, really good exercise, but just done a little differently to match up with what we see from the best players and best athletes in general in the world that are allowing themselves to use that chest to keep going. And again, that will carry those shoulders being a little more neutral to slightly open versus shut.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you guys one other exercise, and there's a great player who talked about this, and that was Mr. Tom Watson.
Okay.
And his sort of secret that he found later on in his career almost helped him win the British Open at 59 years old. Pretty impressive. And what he talked about is how when he was younger, he was still a very good player. We know that, a major champion. But his tendency was to get a little bit slid out, a little bit tilty, and his shoulders would work more up the wall.
Because that was kind of the fad during his era, the reverse C type look.
The reverse
So that
C,
was a little bit more slide, and then you turn through, and now you're kind of tilted away.
Yep.
Caused a lot of back issues.
Caused blocks and hooks.
Blocks and hooks.
So what he talked about later in his career is really feeling like, I think he might
put the pipe behind him.
Yep. And he really talked about how he would go up to the top and kind of get on the proper angle or tilt here, and really feel like he kind of matched up that left shoulder with his right on the through. So to him, it felt almost over the top. And we've talked about this before, almost feeling with the rotation, with our middle feeling almost on top or left compared to how our hands and arms feel. We called it fade the body, draw the arms, right? And we did a video on that, but this really makes you feel like you can actually unwind, and again, those shoulders aren't staying closed, and this creates more of a simple, sort of symmetrical pattern. And then if I put my arms on there, you can still have the appearance that your shoulders are somewhat neutral.
Just depending on how much mobility is in that left shoulder.
Right. So simple hug drill like that can be really helpful to do as a daily exercise, and I do that all the time just to make myself feel like I'm synced up and I can wind up and unwind in the proper bends and allow my chest to get open.
When you try to force yourself to stay closed or hold something back that doesn't want to be held back. So if we're going to let ourselves be free and unwind, there are some keys to matching it up, and we've talked about them in many, many videos. But one that I want to reference here is a video on the center of mass back that we did. We have to make sure we keep our arms in the center of mass back if we want to be able to unwind in this manner. If that center of mass gets shot out and we try to turn, then we got two things going out and it's no good. So there are some keys to being able to do this. You can't just, if you're an over-the-topper, getting your chest to open up is not, it might not be the right medicine. You've got to learn how to match the parts so that it all works.
It's always a matchup, as we have found and said before.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me hit one here where I feel like I really match that up as Milo's talking about. So I'm going to feel that center of mass back here, and then allow myself to open that chest, allow myself to even feel like the shoulders can work on the plane and even open up a little bit, just like I would if I was hitting a baseball, just like I would if I was hitting a slap shot. Okay, so that's the feeling. Allow myself to go, can rehearse impact there, and now go. There we go. Allow myself to get around the corner. So much more speed, so much farther.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
There we go.
Hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button and come visit us at milolinesgolf.com where we can teach you to swing like an athlete.